Roll4Crit.com presents How to Play Pandemic in 5 minutes or less or more. Pandemic is an incredibly realistic viral outbreak simulator. You and your friends will travel the globe attempting to rid the population of disease. Designed by Matt Leacock and published by Z-Man Games. So in Pandemic there are these cubes, right? These represent disease. And then there's this map, right? This represents a map. After standard game setup, each player will receive a roll card and some player cards for their hand. Each roll card grants you a special ability. All players begin with their pawns on the Atlanta location of the board. On your turn, you can take 4 actions. They can be 4 different actions, or you can take the same action multiple times. Here are your options. First, movement. You can move to any city connected to your current city by a line. That's 1 action. In your hand, you will have cards with the names of cities on them. If you discard one of these cards, you get to fly to that city. For example, if you're in Atlanta and you discard the Tokyo card, free trip to Tokyo. If you happen to have the city card matching the city you're currently in, you get to fly to any city you want. For example, if you're in Atlanta and you discard the Atlanta card, free trip to Tokyo, or Manila, or Khartoum, or... You'll also notice these research stations, represented by wooden game pieces. You can move between cities containing research stations as 1 action without having to discard anything, just like moving to a connected location. But the game only starts with 1 research station in Atlanta. Doesn't do you much good to move back and forth into the same city, now does it? Well, lucky you can build more of them. Again, this requires the use of the city card which you are currently located in. Discard it while you're there, and you can build a research station. Woo! Research! If you're on the same location as another player, the 2 of you can trade cards with each other, but only if the card matches the city that you're both in. No giving someone a Shanghai card in St. Petersburg. That's just bad manners. And also it's a hand limit of 7. So why are you moving all over the place anyway? Well, because of these nasty, sinister disease cubes. You want to get rid of them. They're bad. As an action, you can treat disease, meaning you can dispose of 1 cube from the location you're currently on. If you spend multiple actions, you can keep on treating until a city is clean. Good looking out. Ultimately, your goal is to find cures for all 4 diseases. See, there are 4 colors of cubes, and each one is a different disease, and there are 4 diseases, and you have to find cures for all 4 of them. The diseases. To do so is simple. You just have to get 5 cards of 1 color. Doesn't matter what city they represent. Then, head to your local research station and discard them all at once. Whichever color you discarded, that disease is now cured. This benefits you in multiple ways. In addition to bringing you closer to victory, from now on, when using the Treat Disease action on a cured disease, you remove not just 1, but all of the cubes from that city at once. What a time saver! And if you manage to remove every single cube of 1 color from the board while it's cured, it becomes eradicated. That means that even if new cards come up telling you to place that color cube on the board, you can just ignore them. It's eradicated. So that's pretty much what you do and how you win. At the end of your turn, made up of 4 actions of your choosing, you draw the top 2 cards from the player deck. Generally, you'll get different colored city cards or event cards, which can be used at pretty much any time on or off your turn for helpful effects. Then you move on to the infection step. Draw the number of cards listed on the infection track, 2 at the start of the game, from the infection deck. For each city you draw, place 1 cube of that color on said city. Disease is always spreadin'. Then it's the end of your turn. Hopefully you survived. But let's rewind a bit. Sometimes when drawing your 2 player cards, you'll get an epidemic card. These are super bad, you guys, I'm serious. If you get one of these, just follow the instructions on the card. First, the infection track moves up 1 space. Then you draw the bottom card of the infection deck and put 3 cubes of the appropriate color on that city. Then, you reshuffle whatever infection cards were in the discard pile, and they go back on top of the infection deck. So if one of those cities has a lot of cubes on it, you need to move fast because it could get drawn again any time now. Oh, did I not mention why it's bad not to clear cubes? Well, see, if there are 3 cubes on one city and a card drawn would cause it to get a 4th cube, that causes an outbreak. In that case, instead of putting a 4th cube on that city, you place 1 cube of the original city's color on each connected city. And if there are 3 cubes on one of those cities, then guess what? Double outbreak. Don't let this happen to you. If you ever get 8 outbreaks in a single game, you lose. You also lose if the player deck runs out of cards before the diseases have all been cured. You also lose if you run out of cubes to place on the board. You win, again, if and only if you manage to cure all 4 diseases before time runs out. Don't worry, you've got this. You've seen Contagion. You didn't? Oh well, good luck to you anyway. In conclusion, travel the world, treat diseases, cure diseases, try not to let anyone die. That's Pandemic in a nutshell. Did you get all that?